Good evening and welcome, dear guests. My name is Nicole Musayan, and I proudly serve as this year's ASA Vice President. Hint of Armenia is an annual event that we look forward to each year as it brings our community together to celebrate our Armenian culture and traditions. It is my honor to bring up our co-cultural chairs of this year and your hosts for the evening, Elena Shabandarian and Mari Sarukhanian.
Thank you, Nicole. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our 4th annual Hint of Armenia. As we continue our shared journey into the richness of Armenian culture, exploring a world filled with tradition, music, and storytelling, all of which come together to reflect the beauty and depth of our heritage. My name is Elena Shabandarian.
And I'm Mari Sarukhanian.
And together we proudly serve as co-cultural chairs of UC San Diego's Armenian Student Association. And it is with immense honor that we stand before you tonight as hosts of this enriching cultural experience.
A warm welcome to each and every one of you. We're so happy to have you here with us. Whether you're here to experience the beauty of Armenian culture, enjoy the rich flavors of our cuisine, or simply share the warmth of our community, your presence truly adds something to the special to this gathering. Hint of Armenia isn't just an event, it's a tribute to the strength, culture, and spirit of a people whose roots run deep down through history.
Tonight we come together to honor the incredible contributions Armenians have made across the world. Everything that you see and hear tonight reflects the heart, talent, and resilience of our community.
As we celebrate the richness of our culture tonight, let's also take a moment to remember those who gave everything so we could be here. The heroes who stood strong for our people and our future. Their bravery and sacrifice are the reason we're gathered in pride today. Tonight, we honor their memory with deep respect.
To begin our program this evening, we'd like to honor a meaningful tradition within the Armenian community, singing our national anthem. It's our pleasure to welcome the St. Sarkis Sunday School Choir to the stage to lead us in the anthem. Their performance is a beautiful way to open tonight's celebration of our culture and history. At this time, we kindly ask everyone to please rise for the Armenian national anthem. Thank you for that beautiful performance. Up next, we would like to invite speaker Karan Jimbachan, the community coordinator of the ANCA and chief section editor of France's Armenian Languages Project, Pages. Through his positions, Karan reflects a strong commitment to the Armenian community and furthering the Armenian cause. Please welcome Karan Jimbachan to the stage.
Thank you, everyone. When we speak of the Armenian genocides, our words are heavy with the weight of massacres, mass deportations, grief, and exile. We speak of a people torn from their ancestral lands, scattered to the winds of an indifferent world. These are the truths that must never be forgotten. Yet too often in our mourning, we allow ourselves to forget another truth, one equally sacred, equally essential to who we are, the Armenians who fought back. Those who did not simply endure, but resisted. Those who, even as the world sought to erase them, took up arms and held their grounds, and in doing so, laid the very foundation upon which the first Armenian Republic would be built. A people capable of statehood, of sovereignty, of standing upright before a world. To remember only the suffering is to tell only half of that story. Tonight, let us tell the whole story. In life, especially in politics, every game has its rules. You either participate in the game and respect the rules, or you disregard those rules and lose the game. In the people's life, the art of discipline, of tenacity, required to abide by those rules, has tremendous value. When you state in front of the whole world that you are Armenian and that you are going to live as an Armenian, the rules of the game dictate that you claim responsibility over all sacrifices that represent the prerequisites for your survival and continuity. You either enter the game and in doing so respect the rules, or lose everything. In this game, there is no rest. There is no armistice after claiming ownership of one's national identity. The fight is constant. The struggle is perpetual. Shame on all those that after the war is over, when an accord has been signed, turns to peace as its sole guiding compass. Shame on those who think that the struggle is over with the stroke of a pen. Those who know the rule of the game acknowledge that every accord signed in the name of peace represents nothing other than the preparation for another war. There are no peace-loving people on this earth, for they are all annihilated. If life, on a personal level, is constant struggle, then it is the same on the national level. The eternal struggle means life as a nation. It could be pursued through different means, but it is going to be pursued. And it is going to be pursued at the expense of our work and our sacrifice. Those that fear sacrifice, the peoples that are petrified at the sight of blood, have no place in history. In the end, their place is at the cemeteries. But in order to live, our livelihood is going to feed off of our sacrifices and the blood, sweat, and tears of our martyrs. Those that don't know the art of sacrifice cannot acquire the privilege of securing the livelihood of its future generation. Blood, sweat, and tears are necessary for the assurance of continuity of a people. And during the Middle Ages, us Armenians thought that being Christian Armenians were enough to live gracefully and peacefully on our indigenous lands. And so, we've even had Catholic ASA that preached to their flocks to not fight, to live in peace. That a wise slave, the iron rule of the Ottoman Empire, is not that bad. And we've had other Armenian intellectuals, whether in the clerical ranks or not, that said that if you want everyone to be indulgent of us as Armenians, then you have to be at the ground level. They ordered everyone to slither and crawl so that everyone else would be able to stomp on us. That is what some of the Armenian intellectuals proposed at the time. We truly believed that we as Armenians have the favor of God and would be worthy of eternal glory. he who suffers on this earth would attain great glory in the afterlife, they prophesied. But we do not have means to ascertain that. But what we can know for certain is that the prosecution and the persecution against us has not only doubled, not only quintupled, but has intensified thousandfolds. Despite the level of submission to the Ottoman Empire regime reaching unfathomable levels, our population was not only halved, but quartered. Our most prominent cities were occupied and torn apart. The dignity of the Armenian people was desecrated, despite having perfected the art of slithering and crawling. We were crawling underground as they were stomping on us mercilessly. And when the stomping amounted to no avail, and they realized that we not only survived and did not perish, but saw something that horrified them, the statement that we are Armenian and we are going to live as Armenians. They saw that as a declaration of war. And they saw right. It was only us that within our statement merely saw freedom. It was only us that were under the impression that whatever we surrender in this world, we would recuperate in the next. But what we really ended up happening is that we lost an entire statehood and became the laughingstock of the entire world. Because we had declared our will to be resilient by saying we are Armenians, but surrendered all arms to protect that. We didn't respect the rules of the game, and for that, we paid enormously. And we will still pay enormously, because to this day, we run away from altercations and struggle. Today, we still forfeit in front of our enemies. Why do we leave our homeland? Why do we abandon our cultural centers and our agums? Why do we disperse and dissolve from the collective lives at the slightest sign of danger? Why do we turn our backs from our responsibility to make sacrifices when that's the rule of the game? The iron rule of the game continues to hit us in the head. And we don't seem to understand. Where are we running? What is the final destination to where we're running? Let's speak bluntly. Where we see danger, we don't want to see Armenians. There's danger there. Run, escape. There's persecution there. Run, escape. There's sacrifice there. Run, escape. But run to where? If it isn't just symbolism, mannerism, or ceremony that we say so brazenly that we are Armenian, then there needs to be a rebirth of the revolutionary Armenian. I say the revolutionary Armenian, not the Armenian Revolution. The kind of Armenian that faces the enemies and says, stop here. Beyond this point, you have no entry. And if there is entry, it is only on my cadaver. The revolutionary Armenian. When we start to see within each and every single one of us the revolutionary Armenian, it is only then that we would truly understand the rules of the game and finally be at the table. It is only then that we reclaim our dignity, we become strong again, and not only start defending our rights, but demanding respect. Nationally, collectively, and individually. Otherwise, we don't have the right to demand self-respect. We don't have the right to demand freedom from anyone else. We can demand respect only when, as a people, we start respecting ourselves, and as a nation, we start fighting for our freedom. If we want to demand respect as a nation, then we should already have the willingness to dedicate endless sacrifices for that. We saw that even within our own lands, we had become small islands, Sunik, Sasun, Zeytun. And when we looked at our surrounding, there were no Armenians. The enemy had forcefully displaced us. I don't want to dwell on the past too much. Sasun, Zeytun, Musaler, Urfa, Shabin Karahisar are the glories of our past. Now every community is a Sasun of its own, from the northern Americas to Barskastan, is either a Sasun or there are no Armenians living there. We either respect the rules of the game and understand that we don't have friends, just like any other nation, other than our own power. We need to find our allies at the expense of seeing them as enemies of the future, and identify our enemies knowing that they might be allies in the future. And continue that struggle. The struggle is not exclusively with guns. We are to offer sacrifices with great pride. We will spill blood, sweat, and tears with great tenacity. In the circus of politics, it is disillusionary to think that just because you are civilized, you deserve respect. You are civilized for your benefit before all. If you are valuable, for your benefit before all. If you are rich in morality, it is for your benefit before all. And if those qualities prove beneficial to others, praise be yours, but not with the flawed mentality that you are entitled to salvation through their sacrifices. Morphing this ideology into national philosophy is laughable. If we don't respect the rules of the game, we will always be defeated and crawl on the ground so that others may stomp on us. And if you don't mind crawling, then there is no need to announce that you are Armenian. There are no crawling nations. Those that crawl on the ground are condemned to be buried under it. If we want to extract one lesson, not only from Sassoon, but every heroic battle of the Armenian history, then it would be this. Why were the Armenians of Sassoon martyred? Why did they give their lives? Was it solely for the land, the rock, the soil? In Zeytun, when people were viciously fighting the Turkish forces, why were they defending? What was it that they were defending? The Rocky Mountains of Zeytun? Of course not. They were knowingly or unknowingly defending the supreme, the soon-to-be nation, and the dignity of that nation, the destiny of that nation, the future of that nation, and its survival. Let no one say we should fight only where there are many Armenians. We should fight where we are better organized as Armenians. We are Armenians everywhere. We are organized everywhere. We are present everywhere. And we are Armenian every single place. So no matter how scattered we become, no matter how distant we get from one another, no matter which corner of the world we end up in, we are going to feel the violence done towards our nation, and we are going to act in retaliation. That is how we are going to live. That is how we are going to prosper. That is how we are going to emerge victorious. And that will does not solidify within us, then we will die. And one last ideal that we must confront, one that has long festered within our own community, and that is external forces are only too eager to exploit. It is the notion that the Armenian genocide, with all its traumatic effects, belongs solely to the traditional diaspora. That it was only those who fled to Beirut, to Paris, to Buenos Aires who truly suffered and endured. This couldn't be further away from the truth. The Armenians of Yerevan, of Meghri, of Artsakh, they did not step aside from the catastrophe. They stood within it. They received at their doorstep their fellow compatriots. They sheltered the exiles. They buried the refugees who arrived half dead at their doorstep. And they fought at Sartarabat, Pashabaran, Garakilisa. It was the Armenians of Eastern Armenia who halted the advancing Turkish forces and prevented those total annihilation of our people. Without those battles, there would be no survivors to mourn. There would be no diaspora to gather, no republic to speak of. To pit diasporan against homeland Armenian, to declare one the sole inheritor of genocide memory and the other a stranger to it, that does not make sense. It is a weapon wielded against us. Our enemies know that a divided Armenian people is a defeated Armenian people. So let us not grant them that victory. The sacred thread that tethers the diaspora to the homeland and the homeland to the diaspora cannot be severed, no matter how hard they try it from Ankara, Baku, Yerevan, Washington, or anywhere else in the world. That sacred thread is in every Armenian that knows the rules of the game and live by it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon, for that speech.
Thank you. We would like to introduce our first performer, Alex Simonian. Please welcome Alex on stage.
Okay, so before I start, I would like to say a couple of words about what I'll be playing. So on the duduk, I'll be playing a dance melody from Musaler called Chalma Danga, which means like a showcase with daggers, or Dashunerev Tutadrutsun. This is a war and wedding dance from Musaler. And at the end of the 19th century and beginning of the 20th century, since Armenians were not allowed to have any weapons, the Kurds and the Turks would defile the wedding and the bride and kidnap the bride from the villages, and then either kill or rape them and then bring them back to like ruin the wedding. So the men in the villages would dance this with daggers to scare away them and to protect their women during the weddings. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex, for that beautiful performance. We're now going to be taking a short intermission, and the program will continue in 5 minutes. Thank you. we would like to invite you all back. Do you want me to say we'd like to invite you all back?
And then I'll
to take us
yeah.
Thank you, everyone. We'd like to invite you all back to take a seat so we can continue with the rest of the program.
Thank you all. We will now move forward with the performance by one of our own ASA members, Eric Barsagyan. We will be reciting Մենք քիչ ենք, սակայն մեզ հայ են ասում by the renowned Armenian poet Barur Sevak.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I will also like to say that Alex will be accompanying me in the back. Մենք քիչ ենք, սակայն մեզ հայ են ասում։ Մենք մեզ ոչ ոքից չենք գերադասում։ Պարզապես մենք էլ պիտի ընդունենք, որ մենք, միայն մենք Արարատ ունենք, եւ որ այստեղ է բարձրիկ Սևանում, երկինքն իր ճիշտ պատճեն է հանում։ Պարզապես Դավիթն այստեղ է կռվել, պարզապես Նարեկն այստեղ է գրվել, պարզապես գիտենք ժայռից վանք կերտել, քարիչ շինել ձուկ եւ թրջուն կավից։ Ուսուցման համար եւ աշակերտել գեղեցկին, բարուն, վսեմին, լավին։ Մենք քիչ ենք, սակայն մեզ հայ են ասում։ Մենք մեզ ոչ ոքից չենք գերադասում։ Պարզապես մեր բախտն ուրիշ է եղել։ Պարզապես շատ ենք մենք արյուն հեղել։ Պարզապես մենք մեր դարավոր կյանքում, երբ եղել ենք շատ եւ եղել կանգուն, դարձյալ չենք ճնշել մեկ ուրիշ ազգի, ոչ ոք չի տուժել զարկից մեր բասկի։ Եթե գերել ենք, լոք մեր գրքերով, եթե տիրել ենք, լոք մեր ձիրքերով, պարզապես մահն էր մեզ սիրահարվել, իսկ մենք ինքնակամ նրան չենք տրվել, ու երբ ճառահատ մեր հողն ենք թողել, ուր էլ որ հասել, որտեղ էլ որ եղել, ճանաչել ենք մենք ամենքի համար, շինել ենք կամուրջ, կապել ենք կամար, ամեն տեղ հերկել, հասցրել, բերքեր, ամենքին տվել միտք, առած, երգեր, պաշտպանել նրանց հոգևոր ցրտից, ամեն տեղ թողել մեր աչքից ցոլանք, մեր հոգուց մասունք եւ նշխար սրտից։ Մենք քիչ ենք, այո, բայց կոչվում ենք հայ, գիտենք դեռ չանցած վերքերից տնքալ, բայց նոր խնդությամբ ցնթալ ու հրճվել։ Գիտենք թշնամու կողը մխրճվել ու բարեկամին դառնալ աջակից, դուրս գալ մեզ արված բարության տակից, մեկի փոխարեն 10 հատուցելով, հոգուտ արդարի եւ արեգակի, գիտենք քվյարկել մեր կյանքով նաեւ, բայց թե կամենան մեզ բռնի վառել, մենք գիտենք մխալ եւ կրակ մարել։ Իսկ եթե պետք է խավարը ցրել, գիտենք մոխրանալ որպես վառ կերոն, եւ գիտենք նաեւ մեզ քրքոտ սիրել, բայց ուրիշներին միշտ էլ հարգելով։ Մենք ոչ ոքից չենք գերադասում, բայց մենք էլ գիտենք, մեզ հայ են ասում։ Եվ ինչու պիտի չհպարտանանք, կանք պիտի լինենք ու դեռ շատանանք։
Thank you to both Eric and Alex. As we continue our evening celebrating Armenian resilience and achievement, we're honored to introduce our second leader in advocacy for the Armenian cause. Representing the Armenian Assembly of America, he plays a vital role in strengthening Armenian voices across the West Coast and beyond through community outreach and policy efforts. Please welcome Mr. David Berjekian.
Second, guys. Sorry, is it on the desktop? Thank you, everyone. Good evening. Hi, Surb, the ASA, Elena, and the ASA team. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be back here at St. Sarkis Armenian Church and back with the ASA at UC San Diego. Thank you so much. So, Elena shared a couple prompts for me to share with you today. And the first one was how my culture and heritage has shaped me. The gentleman you see pictured here, Mr. Hrant Tarosian, my beloved maternal grandfather. And also my maternal grandmother, Terez Tarosian, there with him. God bless their souls, miss them dearly. My grandfather, Hrant Tarosian, passed in 1999. I'm sure that was before many of you were born, for many of you that are here. But my beloved grandfather survived the Armenian genocide. He survived the Armenian genocide, ended up in an orphanage, and then eventually ended up in Marseille, France, where he met my beloved grandmother, Terez Tarosian, a French woman, half French, half Spanish. They had a wonderful life in Marseille. They owned a store, a grocery store. They lived well. And then he heard from his mother, who also survived, and she ended up in Fresno, California. He sold everything and moved to Fresno to reunite with his mother. There wasn't much of a French community there in Fresno, so they then ended up in San Francisco, California, where I was born. Actually, I was born in Los Angeles, by the way, but both of my parents were born in San Francisco, and my parents moved back to San Francisco, or the Bay Area, when I was 2 years old. So I've lived almost my entire life in the San Francisco Bay Area. But I start with my grandfather because, as a survivor of the Armenian genocide, I grew up always hearing his stories of survival and of the tragedy that our nation has faced from 1915 to 1923. He was born in 1910, so he was very young. He was 5 years old at the start of the Armenian genocide. But he survived, and he told me, never forget, always remember. And it was those words that have been so instrumental in my life, and he is who I serve in the Armenian community in his honor, and I always will. So how my culture and heritage has shaped me, I have chosen to give my life to my culture and my heritage and to the Armenian nation, to the Armenian community here in the diaspora and abroad, and of course in the homeland. The ECYO is where all of my experiences started. So again, at age 13, my parents told me, hey, you're going to join this. I was shy, I didn't want to do it, I didn't know what was going on. And you're going to be treasurer. I'm treasurer at age 13 in the ACYO. This was the beginning of my faith formation, my leadership opportunities, my diocese-wide connections, which, by the way, as my role as the Western Region Director of the Armenian Assembly, I still rely on to this day, as well as lifelong friendships. And I'm sure many of you here are familiar with the ACYO. The ACYO is very vibrant, I believe. Hi, SORP, which is wonderful. And I encourage you to stay involved with that organization because it will help fulfill your life in so many ways. But again, coming back to my grandfather, never forget, always remember, that was the beginning of becoming a lifelong advocate. And I will come back to that as we go on. And ACYO was my first experience in terms of advocacy in the community and with our church. The first committee I ever joined was the Armenian Genocide Commemorative Committee in the San Francisco Bay Area, which I still serve on. It's a cross-community effort, all of the Bay Area organizations coming together. This was the centennial in 2015. We had hundreds and hundreds of Armenians together. This is all Armenians from San Francisco Bay Area. Shout out to Aram Hamparian. Ghana, if you could see him. Aram is there. He walked with us on the bridge, which was great. He's in the bottom left corner. The executive director of the Armenian National Committee was there and joined us. But this was a really, really amazing cross-community effort. And there was no question what committee I would join after my time with the ACYO and the ACYO Western Diocese Central Council in terms of my community advocacy and just my involvement in the community and leading in the community. And I continue to serve that organization as well. But this was a true highlight in 2015, the centennial of the Armenian genocide. The Mount Davidson Cross Armenian Council. Who's heard of Mount Davidson Cross? Anybody here? Okay, awesome, a few of you. It's the Bay Area's Armenian Genocide Monument. 104-foot tall concrete cross that is the Bay Area or Northern California's Armenian Genocide Monument. It is illuminated twice a year, on Easter and on April 24. So you see the illumination there. But April 24 commemoration will be there tomorrow. But again, continuing my advocacy in the community, all in service of the community, all because of my grandfather in his honor. My beloved grandmother on the left there, Flora Mirzayan, in the blue. We commemorated 10 years since her passing in 2016. Can't believe it's been 10 years, but my beloved grandmother there, my parents, my sister, but this is a nice photo. I bring her up because, again, continuing my involvement in the community and choosing to give and choosing to make my community and my ethnicity and my culture to serve it as my life journey. She plays a large role in it too because of her involvement in the AGBU, the Armenian General Benevolent Union. Because of her growing up, hearing about the AGBU, that was one of the next committees I joined almost 20 years ago. I'm still involved with it, but this is community building, it's leadership and management, it's event management and marketing, and all in the service of Armenia and the Armenian diaspora. And I continue to serve as a volunteer with the AGBU. Some photos from the Young Professionals, the Winter Gala in San Francisco, 26-year running event. And then, of course, the San Francisco Bay Area ArtsLock Task Force. So again, showing you guys my involvement in the community in service of the Armenian nation, both here in the diaspora as well as the homeland, just perpetuated, and it still perpetuates to this day. And I really believe, and I'm going to get to it in a moment, but I really believe it is the reason I now have the opportunity to hold the role that I have as the Western Region Director of the Armenian Assembly of America because of my community involvement. But the Bay Area ArtsLock Task Force in May of 2021 raised $100,000 for the ArtsLock relief efforts. So, the second prompt that Elena shared with me, what is it like working for an Armenian organization? And again, my involvement in the community, as I just mentioned, really, I feel has brought me to where I am today, and I am so grateful. So serving an Armenian organization, working full-time for an Armenian organization, it's meaningful, it's rewarding, it's fulfilling, it's also challenging. It's rewarding in the sense that our accomplishments, and Gordon can relate to this too, I'm sure, our accomplishments, we are seeing gaining more support for the Armenian cause, from our elected officials, from our community members, whether it's raising funds or seeking more support on legislation. It's rewarding in that sense. When we host an event and it's successful, when we raise money and we bring the community together, it's a really, really great feeling. When we go and we meet with members of Congress and they actually sign on and support what we're asking for their support on, it's very fulfilling, but we need more, and that's why all of us here today, the ASA, I commend you for the advocacy you hold, that you display by hosting this event. We need to continue to try to achieve these accomplishments in advocacy, but also it's challenging because getting people just to show up to an event, ASA exec, I'm sure you can relate to that. It could be challenging at times, right? Just your general business meeting, I imagine could be challenging, just to get people to show up. Maybe they show up because they have apathy. Maybe they don't show up because of apathy. Maybe they don't show up because they're shy, they don't know people, they're afraid. Or maybe they don't show up because they actually have genuine conflicts, right? Whether it's other exams or studying or school or whatever. But it's still a challenge just to get people to show up. And so, working for an Armenian organization, especially a nonprofit, in a lot of ways it's been similar to working in a corporate world. It's been very similar. We have a team meeting once a week. You know, I have objectives I have to uphold to. You know, I have to communicate with my team members professionally. I have to communicate with the community professionally. I have to be professional. I have to be on time. I have to get my work done. It's very similar in a lot of ways, but it's a little bit different in terms of the funding, right? Sponsors, donors, events, those are the main sources of funding. So, I'm very grateful to be in the role that I have because I get to plan events. That's one of the major keys of what we do throughout the year. Plan events to raise money, to bring the community together, to raise awareness. So these are some photos from a new event we had last fall. It was Armenians. It was a panel of Armenians in media and entertainment. It was an amazing event. We had a really great turnout. You might recognize some folks in there. Michael Gurgin, the actor from Amerikatsi, the director of Amerikatsi and writer of Amerikatsi. Happens to be my cousin too, which is pretty cool. I like to share that. It's really fun. We also see Armen Karaglanian, founder of Armenian Film Society, Tenny Meladonian, and others. And of course, these are members of our board. On the right photo, the left photo, is a lot of our intern alumni and our Advocacy Summit Scholarship recipients. But get to plan events, something I've done with AGBU and with the church and ACYO, but now I get to do it full time as well as a part of what I do full time. Meeting and activating the community, having meetings or events in the community. On the left side, you see this was our regional Northern California New Year event that we had. And then on the right side, an event, a luncheon we had with community members in Houston. I had the opportunity to travel, to activate the community, to bring the community together and speak about our issues and seek support on our issues and seek support on taking action as well. And I'm really grateful for that. Of course, in district meetings with members of Congress. The left photo was in Houston. The right one was with Latifah Simon, who happens to be my representative in Northern California in the East Bay. And we met with staff. And you guys, staff do make a difference. Staff are important. We have to make sure that we educate the staff as well. On the left side, Wesley Hunt, who we met with. He did sign on to the Armenian Genocide Education Act following our meeting, which is really fulfilling and rewarding, and it's motivating. But we need more. We have to keep getting in front of all these members. There's so many members we have to get in front of. That's where we really need everyone's help to do that. And this is our Advocacy Summit, which was just a couple weeks ago in Washington, D.C. You see me up there with my colleague Mariam Khaloyan, who our Congressional Relations Director, and Robert Avadisian, our head of research and analysis. He also happens to be the former ARTSOC representative, the permanent representative of ARTSOC to the U.S. We're grateful to have him on our team. It was really, really great. We had our Advocacy Summit in Washington, D.C. Just about a week and a half ago, and we had a really, really great turnout. Lots of young people, really great cross-community turnout, and we had a briefing day. That's what this day was. It was our briefings and training on our issues, and then and so on. So, of course, we're meeting with members in district and staff as well, and also some really great money shots there. There was the Armenian Genocide Commemoration event in D.C., and we got a chance to take a photo with Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi, which was great. So real quick, guys, Armenian Assembly is a nonprofit 501c3 Armenian advocacy organization headquartered in Washington, D.C. We focus on grassroots advocacy and internship programs. We have an internship program in D.C. and in Yerevan, Armenia. And then, of course, advocacy, it's through many different ways. Of course, there is current legislation in D.C., and of course events throughout the year. We have our summit, which is really, really great. We have a scholarship program for college students to come attend the summit. We help cover airfare and hotel to come to DC to advocate on Capitol Hill. And then there's just some photos, guys, from the summits. And of course, take action online, our advocacy page, and so on. You can follow us online as well. Thank you so much for having me, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of the evening. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Up next, we would like to welcome Jonathan Dervazarian, who is going to be performing a song called Beranmig Imegat in honor of his grandmother. Please welcome Jonathan to the stage.
Thank you for that performance. We would like to invite you all outside for the continuation of the program. Please feel free to help yourself to some dinner and refreshments. As our way of giving back, we will also be holding a raffle with 100% of the proceeds going to the Armenian International Medical Fund. The AIM Fund is an organization in Armenia supporting life-changing healthcare initiatives and raising money for children who are hard of hearing.
Raffle tickets are being sold for $10 per entry, so we encourage you to participate, not only for a chance to win a prize, but to support a meaningful cause. Items include donations from Ergush Jewelry, Nars Gifts, Strip Mess LA, and Armenian Kids Club. Thank you.
And before we head outside, we'd also like to invite Edhar to pray for us. And we would also like to announce that the church is going to be having an event tomorrow on Sunday, April 26th at 1 p.m. And they're going to have Dr. Tanner Okchum speaking. So if you would like to attend, it's going to be here tomorrow at 1 p.m. Thank you.
I'll be very short. Dear brothers, sisters in Christ, today was more than a program, more than music, more than poetry and performances. It was a living expression of who we are. A people rich in faith, in culture, resilience. Each note played, each word spoken, each step. Not only the land, but the spirit that lives within us. We witnessed the beauty of our youth, the dedication of our artists, the generosity of the attendance of our community. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all who are here for our beloved UCSD ASA students who organized and sponsored this traditional event that is being done every year. And I'm happy that this year it came out to be done in St. Sarkis. Heartfelt thanks to all of you for coming. Heartfelt thanks to all our beloved students who volunteer every Sunday coming and helping and assisting our teachers, our kids. And allow me to invite you to stand now so that we close this with a prayer and invite you to the tent where the remaining part of this program will be concluded there. Օրնյալ Տեր մեր Հիսուս Քրիստոս ամեն հայր գինսես Սուրբ Եղիցի անուն քո եկեսե արքայություն քո եղիցին գամ քո որբես հերկինս եւ հերկրի զհաց մեր հանաբազորդ դուր մեզ այսօր եւ թող մեզ զբարդիս մեր որբես եւ մեկ թողունք մերոց բարտաբանած եւ մի դանիրս մեզ ի փորձություն այլ փրկյաս մեզ ի չարե զիքո է արքայություն եւ եւ փառք հավիտյանս հավիտենից ամեն թողորնվին այս ներկաները անվամբ որդվո եւ ոգին սրբո ասենք միասին ճաշակեսուկ խաղաղությամբ ըսգերագուրս որ պատրաստյալ է մեզ իդիարնե օրնյալ է Տեր ի բարգեւս յուր ամեն շնորհակալություն